was the hardest part of your journey? From who you were to who you are now, what has been most challenging and how did you deal with it?
So for me, I think the hardest part was to stop blaming. Because in my earlier years, I blamed my wife for her making me angry or for her not understanding me. And the biggest change was to realize it was about me, about becoming aware of what was happening inside of me, what was my trigger, and what created that anger from within me.
Yeah.
And that's the biggest change, is realizing that the only person I can really change is myself. And the more I change myself, the more I invite you to change, because the way that I communicate will be very, very different.
Yeah.
And so that was the biggest lesson that I learned. I lost the marriage, but I didn't realize that. But afterwards, I began to realize that I was the one that had to change.
Yeah.
Because that I was in control of.
Brian, why don't you share some of your relationship experiences with us?
What I've learned is that relationships are hard. They're difficult. There's a clash of two different views that come together. That create a clash, that create a tension. And when I was growing up, I grew up in a world where that wasn't spoken about.
Yeah.
We were only spoken about how beautiful marriage is, or how we have to be dutiful or respectful or honor our parents. And so when I got married and all of a sudden my relationship had this conflict, I thought there was something seriously wrong with me. I thought I was a bit of a delinquent. And what I've learned over the years is that conflict within a relationship is perfectly normal. But it's how we deal with these conflicts. It's how we deal with these differences that makes the world of difference.
Yeah.
It's how we deal with these differences that bring this bond of closeness, of beauty. And so I wanted to share with you the techniques that we have learned on how to do this.
What has been your greatest achievement?
That's a very difficult question to answer. Because you see, I realize that financially, I've never really struggled. And so my reality of achievement is so different to so many other people out there. And so for me, my greatest achievement was redefining success. For me, success wasn't about material wealth. It wasn't about how much I had or how much more I could acquire. But for me, success was how I stepped into a greater emotional fluidness. Because in that, I can support you better and you can support me better to move forward together. For me, success would be a balance between financial wealth and emotional wealth and the richness of relationship. For a long time, I was by myself. And I discovered how alone it was to be not in relationship, not in connection. I was earning well and I could fly overseas and could do all of these things that on Facebook looked really exotic. But inside of me, there was a loneliness. And that's where I value our relationship so well. It brings a rich warmth. I can see a smile on your face around that.
What does relationships mean to you?
These are such good questions. I'm enjoying them. Thank you. First of all, I'm understanding that there is no two relationships that are the same. My relationship with my daughter is very different to my relationship with my son. Very different to my relationship with my ex-wife, and very different to my relationship with you or partners or work colleagues. And so for me, a relationship is, how does this engagement leave me feeling more enriched? Which was maybe very different to my work environment, which was really, how could you enrich me? That's a very different kind of relationship. But for this, how does this relationship leave us both feeling enriched?
And it's not just you helping me, sometimes I can help you as well.
Course. And you do help me so beautifully.
Yeah.
You make me remember my fun and playfulness, but I can be quite serious.
Yeah.
And that's really beautiful. Thank you. And so maybe I'm going to ask you, does this relationship make you feel enriched?
Our relationship has helped a lot, and with my parents, I don't really have the relationship I wish I had with them. But our relationship to me is like in a way, you are my parent, you are my friend, and our relationship has really helped me a lot over the many years that I've known you. And you've always helped me and enabled me to help myself. And you've always taught me breathing exercises for when I'm anxious, and all those little things help me to become a better person.
So you're saying that not only have we connected, but I've also given you a whole lot of tools.
Yes.
To help you connect.
Yeah, and I remember in the beginning, I was very closed towards other people and not trusting and all of that, but we spoke a lot and you've helped me, and now I can go out there and be my own person
and do this podcast.
Yeah, and speak.
And share yourself.
Yeah, and speak to people without, maybe the fear of rejection is still there, but it's not so big as where I'm not even gonna try anymore, because that's who I was. I was like, okay, I'm scared of being rejected, so I'm not gonna play netball, and I'm not gonna play soccer, and I'm not gonna sing anymore. But now I feel like I can, and if they reject me, that's okay, because I accept myself.